Welcome to the longest running quiz show in the area. Categories. High school students compete to answer questions on topics from art to science, history to current events. And now, here's your categories host, John Bartell.
Hi, welcome to Categories. Today we're bringing you a competition between two of our strongest teams in the last couple of years, the Shawnee Mission East Lancers versus the Blue Valley Tigers. Let's go ahead and meet our competitors. First from East.
Hi, I'm Carl, and I'm a senior.
I'm Henry, and I'm a junior.
I'm Kevin, and I'm a senior.
I'm Brian, and I'm a senior.
I'm Michelle, and I'm also a senior.
And our competitors from Blue Valley.
Hi, I'm Arjun, and I'm a junior.
I'm Luco, and I'm a junior.
I'm Luke, and I'm a senior.
I'm Ajay, and I'm a senior.
I'm Aditya, and I'm a senior.
All right, fantastic. Here on the first round of categories, each team will take turns answering questions. If a team responds correctly, they earn a point. If they respond incorrectly, the other team will get a chance to steal. We did a coin toss before we started taping. It was won by Shawnee Mission East. So Lancers, here is the first question. It is computers. In 1982, computer scientist Scott Fahlman invented an entire class of symbols when he typed 3 punctuation marks in a message. The smiley is an example of what class of symbols? Brian.
Emoticons.
Emoticons. Tigers, sports is your category. What sport has a person hanging from a parachute that's pulled behind a boat? Arjun.
Paragliding.
Paragliding or parasailing, we will take either one. Lancers, back to you with current events. Democrats in the Senate voted to lower the threshold for ending filibusters on executive and judicial presidential nominees to a simple majority of 51 votes. How many votes did it take previously? Brian?
60.
60, very good. Blue Valley, back to you with movies. New York, New York, Taxi Driver, Godfather 2, Raging Bull, and The King of Comedy are some of the movies starring what popular actor? Arjun?
Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro. Right. And East, back to you with a mythology question. They were usually represented as 3. Their names were Tisiphone, Megara, and Alecto. On Earth, they were thought to pursue sinners. Michelle?
Furies?
Furies, very good. Tigers, back to you with construction is the category. Gravel, crushed stone, sand, and cement are used to make concrete. What general term refers to these materials that together make up to 60 to 75% of finished concrete? Arjun?
Mortar.
It is not mortar. Lancers, chance to steal this construction category. Gravel, crushed stone. Brian?
Filler.
It is not filler. It's aggregate. Aggregate. Lancers, we are going back to you with American history. A battleground during the American Revolution and the Civil War, hit by hurricanes, fires, and yellow fever. What Georgia city has 6.4 million visitors a year, with about half taking a ghost tour? Michelle.
Savannah?
It is Savannah. Tigers, another geography question for you. The 5th oldest university in the U.S., a river in the Pacific Northwest, and cities in Missouri and South Carolina. Aditya. Columbia. Lancers, back to you with oceanography. What species of whale, named after a color, migrates a whopping... Henry?
The blue whale.
It is not the blue whale. Tigers, chance to steal this oceanography question. What species of whale, named for a color, migrates a whopping 12,500 miles every year? Aditya.
The gray whale?
It is the gray whale. Tigers, back to you with literature. Mark Twain's Huckleberry Finn we associate with the Mississippi River. With what river do we associate Kipling's character Kim? Luco?
The Missouri River.
It is not the Missouri River. Lancers, chance to steal this literature question. Mark Twain's Huckleberry Finn we associate with the Mississippi River. Brian? The Ganges. East, going back to you with it's Greek to me is the category. Identify the relatively new word meaning the manipulation of images by means of computer in order to create special films effects. It's borrowed from the Greek root meaning shape or form. Brian?
To pixelate?
It's not pixelate. Blue Valley, chance to steal its Greek to me category. Identify the relatively new word meaning the manipulation of images by means of computer in order to create special film effects. It's borrowed from the Greek root meaning shape or form. Luke.
Morph.
Morph or morphing. Tigers, you get a next category, and it's names the same. What one-syllable word can refer to the slope of a roof or the gunk that may be used to waterproof it? Lancers, back to you with names the same as the category. What one-syllable word can refer to the slope of a roof or the gunk that may be used? Brian.
Lie.
It is not lie. It's pitch. Pitch. East, literature is the category. Shakespeare, George Bernard Shaw, Maxwell Anderson, and Jean Anouilh. To which of these four playwrights was Joan of Arc a villainess? Brian?
Shaw.
It is not Shaw. Tigers, chance to steal this literature question. Shakespeare, George Bernard Shaw, Maxwell Anderson, and Jean Anouilh. believe that's the way you pronounce it. To which of these four playwrights was Joan of Arc a villainess? Aditya.
Shakespeare.
It is Shakespeare. Very good. Tigers, art is the category. Donatello's bronze piece depicts him unclothed except for a strange-looking hat. He is also carrying a severed head. Name the sculpture. Luke.
David.
David. Back to you, Lancers, with math. In mathematics, what is the Greek letter sigma used to denote? Henry?
Sum.
Sum. Very good. Tigers, back to you. U.S. government is the category. What is the current name of the cabinet department that was once called Department of Health, Education, and Welfare before education gained solo status? Aditya.
Department of Health and Human Services.
Very good. Lancers, U.S. history is the category. In the 1830s, about 15,000 Indians migrated from their homes in Georgia westward to the Indian Territory of Oklahoma. The trip, which took 3 months and cost 4,000 lives, is known as the Trail of Tears. What tribe was forced to make this unfortunate trek? Brian.
The Cherokee tribe.
The Cherokee. Tigers, presidential candidates is your category. Which twice-defeated presidential candidate was appointed U.S. representative to the United Nations by President Kennedy? Aditya.
Adlai Stevenson.
Adlai Stevenson. Lancers, back to you. Geography. What notorious prison island is politically part of the Bronx? Brian.
Rikers Island.
Rikers Island. Blue Valley, current events. Bones allegedly belonging to the first ever pope were put on display for the first time and blessed by Pope Francis at a recent Sunday Mass. Name the first pope. Aditya?
Peter.
Peter, very good. East. Next question for you is medicine. It's a chronic, occasionally acute recurrent skin disease of unknown cause, characterized by thickened red skin patches that are covered with whitish, shiny scales. What is it called? Henry?
Eczema.
It is not eczema. Tigers, looking to steal this medicine question. It's a chronic, occasionally acute, recurring skin disease of unknown cause, characterized by the thickened red skin patches that are covered with whitish, shiny scales. What is it called? Aditya?
Scabies.
It is not scabies. Psoriasis. Psoriasis. Back to you, though, Tigers, with a math question. What figure can be defined as the locus of points in a plane that are equidistant from two fixed points? Luke.
Ellipse.
I cannot accept ellipse. Lancers, chance to steal this math question. What figure can be defined as the locus of points in a plane that are equidistant from two fixed points? Brian?
Foci.
It's not foci. We're just looking for a straight line. A straight line. East, metallurgy is the category. Gold is the most ductile of all metals. What does ductile mean? Carl?
Able to be spread thin.
I cannot accept that. Tigers, chance to steal this metallurgy question. Gold is the most ductile of all metals. What does ductile mean? Luke?
Able to be stretched into wires.
Into wire is what we were looking for, into wire. Tigers, you do get the next category. It is music. What Charles Gounod composition was the theme for the Alfred Hitchcock TV show? Lancers, chance to steal this music category. What Charles Gounod composition was the theme for the Alfred Hitchcock TV show? Brian?
Midnight.
It's not Midnight. It's the Funeral March of a Marionette is what it is. East, we do go back to you with U.S. history. In 1978, it became the first major American city since the Depression to go in default. Name this city in Ohio. Michelle.
Cincinnati.
It is not Cincinnati. Tigers, chance to steal this U.S. history question. In 1978, it became the first major American city since the Depression to go into default. Name this city in Ohio. Aditya.
Cleveland.
It is Cleveland. Back to you, Tigers, with communications. What two-word term identifies the various forms of electronic and print communication methods that reach and influence large numbers of people? Luco.
Mass media.
Mass media. Lancers, coming back to you with sports. In baseball, which position player is usually left-handed? Brian.
First baseman.
First baseman. Blue Valley, world history is your category. The rulers of some of the German states were given a name because they elected the Holy Roman Empire. The Holy Roman Emperor. What were they called? Arjun?
Electors.
Electors. Wordplay, back to you, Lancers. Wordplay. Let me start over. Distinguish between indigent and indigenous. Michelle.
Indigent means impoverished, while indigenous means native.
Very good. Very good. Tigers, back to you with holidays. Halloween celebrations grew out of an original holiday still observed by many Roman Catholics, celebrated on November 1st. What is it called? Luco?
All Hallows Day.
All Hallows Day or All Saints Day. Either one is acceptable. Back to you, East, with U.S. history. Who was the principal representative of the revolutionary American government in France during the 1770s and 1780s? Brian.
Benjamin Franklin.
Benjamin Franklin. Very good. A well-played first half by both teams with a slight lead by Blue Valley of 15 and Shawnee Mission East 11. As we head into our before we head into our second half, we're going to go to a member of each team for a campus update. And looks like from Shawnee Mission East, we have Brian. Brian, what is the latest with the Lancers?
Yes, well, the big news around East is that our football team took second place in the state championship game this weekend, so we're very proud of them. The theater department is working on the winter musical Shrek. And recently we finished our Teachers No Shave November competition. So a shout out to our own Mr. Southwick on that one.
Fantastic. Was it length of beard or just?
I think general majesty.
Oh, majesty. Very good. Good description.
Thank you.
Fantastic. And it looks like we're going to Aditya with Blue Valley. I think you guys had big news too.
Yes. This past weekend, we won this little tiny thing called state in football. And that was very great for our program. Band's doing well. They got 23 to district band. Guys and Dolls, the new musical just started up. Winter sports are starting up this Friday. And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, a lot going on there. That's not just it. There's a lot going on there. Very impressive by both schools when how they compete in every particular venue possible. It's pretty impressive. As we head into our second round, we will begin our second round with a look and listen question in which the contestants here in the studio will be able to view the clue on a monitor and be able to hear through our speakers, where we'll be playing that directly to you at home. The look and listen question is worth 2 points, and contestants may ring in as soon as I'm done reading the clue. So here we go. Both teams, here's our look and listen question. Within a year, either way, when did the following clip air?
You like ice?
Oh, Aditya?
1953.
It is within 1 year because it was 1952. Well played. Nice job. As we continue with the remaining part of our lightning round, the question is placed on the floor for either team to answer. If the team responds correctly, they earn a point. If they respond incorrectly, the other team will get a chance to steal. And it's still playing, by the way, the I Like Ike video. Good stuff. All right, here we go. Both teams. World War is the category. During World War I, a European king commanded an army in the field of combat. He was Albert I, ruler of what country? Aditya?
Belgium.
Belgium. Very good. Geography for both teams. Explain the historical significance of this geographical site. Mount Suribachi. Aditya?
It was the place where American and Japanese forces fought on Iwo Jima.
Very good. Very good. Geography for both teams. Stonehenge is located in England on what plain? Michelle?
Salisbury.
Salisbury. Science is the next category for both teams, so here we go. Identify the glass tubes used in the laboratory to study incandescent gases with a spectroscope. Luco?
Gas spectrometers.
Cannot accept gas spectrometer. Shawnee Machinese, chance to steal the science category. Identify the glass tubes used in the laboratory. Kevin?
Cuvettes.
Isn't that pardon?
Cuvette.
I'm sorry, cannot accept that. We're looking for Geisler tubes. Geisler tubes. Literature for both teams. The autobiography written by which famous Nepalese was titled Tiger of the Snows? Arjun?
Dalai Lama.
It is not the Dalai Lama. Lancers, chance to steal this literature question. The autobiography written by which famous Nepalese was titled Tiger of the Snows? Kevin?
Norgay.
It is Norgay. Tenzing Norgay. Current events for both teams. Human rights groups in what country have condemned a new law that bans protests there without prior police notification? Brian?
Russia.
I'm sorry, it is not Russia. Aditya?
Ukraine.
It's not the Ukraine, it's Egypt. Egypt. Geography for both teams. The second largest in California is San Diego. Name the second largest city in Hawaii. Aditya?
Hilo.
Hilo. Math is the next category for both teams. What's the next term in the following series? 2, 7, 14, 23. Luke?
34.
34. Music is the next category for both teams. What is the British national anthem? Brian?
God Save the Queen.
God Save the Queen. Science is the next category for both teams. 3.5 billion-year-old sedimentary rocks indicate these single-cell life forms already existed. What are these organisms that still account for 90% of photosynthesis? Kevin?
Algae.
Algae. Home improvements for both teams. A certain type of soft solder is known as half and half. It is made from equal weights of tin and lead. For electrical work, another element is usually added as to impart a low melting point. What is it? Michelle?
Copper.
It is not copper. Tigers, chance to steal this home improvements category. A certain type of soft solder is known as a half and half. It is made from equal weights of tin and lead. For electrical work, another element is usually added as to impart a low melting point. What is it? Luke?
Nickel.
It is not nickel. We're given here as antimony. Antimony. World history for both teams. Ancient Sumerians are believed to have built the first oar-powered ships around 3,500 BC. Name both of the rivers upon which they were first used. Aditya?
The Tigris and the Euphrates.
Those are the two. Science for both teams. In what units is a clock speed of a microprocessor rated? Kevin?
Gigahertz.
Gigahertz or megahertz? We would accept either one. Geography. What 3,000 450-mile-long river rises in the Tibetan highlands? Kevin.
The Ganges?
It is not the Ganges. Tigers, you have a chance to steal this geography question. What 3,450-mile-long river rises in the Tibetan highlands? Arjun.
Yangtze.
Yangtze. Vocabulary is the next category for both teams. In interpersonal relations, this word is a synonym for thoughtfulness. In law, it refers to the payment received in a contract. What's the word? Consideration. Consideration. Awards is the next category. In what field is the George Foster Peabody Award given? Brian?
Television broadcasting.
Television broadcasting. Sports for both teams. This sport uses a 12-gauge shotgun and clay pigeons that burst in the air. Henry?
Skeet shooting.
Skeet shooting or trap shooting, either one. Explorers for both teams. He named it the Pacific Ocean because of its... Aditya.
Balboa.
I'm sorry, I cannot accept that. Lancers, chance to steal this explorer's question. He named it the Pacific Ocean because of its peaceful appearance after he emerged from around the Horn. Who was this explorer? Henry.
Magellan?
It is Magellan. World Health for both teams. In December 2000, delegates from 1,200 nations met in Johannesburg to exempt this compound, or at least it's in tropical lands, from the UN's ban on persistent organic pollutants. Name the still most effective way to combat malaria by killing mosquitoes. Brian.
DEET.
I'm sorry, I cannot accept that. Tigers, chance to steal this World Health question. In December 2000, delegates from 120 nations met in Johannesburg to exempt this compound, at least in tropical lands, from the UN's ban on persistent organic pollutants. Name the still most effective way to combat malaria. Arjun.
Smoke.
It is not smoke. It's DDT. DDT. Geography. The largest bay in the world is part of what ocean? Luco.
Pacific.
It is not the Pacific Ocean. Brian?
The Indian Ocean.
It is the Indian Ocean, the Bay of Bengal. World history for both teams. It's a fairly long question. During both world wars, this country sided with Germany, but it could never bring itself to declare war against the Soviet Union since it regarded the USSR as its liberator, not its conqueror. The two countries share a Cyrillic alphabet and speak similar languages. Name this Eastern European nation. Aditya?
Ukraine.
It's not the Ukraine. Lancers, chance to steal this world history. Brian?
Belarus.
It's not Belarus. Bulgaria. Bulgaria. Spelling for both teams. Cirrhosis is an ailment associated with the inflammation of the liver. How do you spell cirrhosis? Aditya?
Cirrhosis.
Very good. Literature for both teams. Identify the authors associated with these character nicknames. The first one, Tiny Tim. Next one's Poor Richard. And the last one is Moby Dick. Luke.
Charles Dickens, Benjamin Franklin, Herman Melville.
Those are the three. Nice job. Biology for both teams. Biology students become familiar with the process of dissecting frogs, crayfish, and other animals. What do you call the dissection or dissecting of a body of a living animal? Luke.
Vivisection.
Vivisection. Next team, or both teams, Greek literature. In Homer's Odyssey, she was the daughter of King Alcinous. She discovered the shipwrecked Ulysses and brought him to her father, from whom Ulysses received safe passage to Ithaca. Name her. Kevin?
Helen?
It is not Helen. Tigers, chance to steal this Greek literature question. In Homer's Odyssey, she was the daughter of King Alcinous, and she discovered the shipwrecked Ulysses and brought him to her father, from whom Ulysses received safe passage to Ithaca. Name her. Luco.
Penelope.
It's not Penelope. It's Nausicaa. Nausicaa. Art for both teams. Why was Thomas Hart Benton's painting of Persephone denounced as too daring? Arjun?
Showed her naked.
Showed her naked. It was a new painting. Culinary arts for both teams. A Japanese dish called sushi is one of the most popular meals in Hawaii. Name the 2 main ingredients. Arjun?
Rice and seaweed.
Cannot accept rice and seaweed. Lancers, chance to steal this culinary arts question. A Japanese dish called sushi is one of the most popular meals in Hawaii. Name the 2 main ingredients. Michelle?
Nori and rice.
What was the first one?
Nori.
I'm sorry, I cannot accept that. We're looking for rice, but the other one is raw fish. Raw fish. Science for both teams. Some minerals become luminescent during exposure to ultraviolet light. If this luminescence continues after exciting rays are removed, the mineral is said to be what? Kevin?
Effervescent.
It's not effervescent. Tigers, chance to steal this science question. Some minerals become luminescent during exposure to ultraviolet light. If this luminescence continues after the exciting rays are removed, the mineral is said to be what? Aditya?
Bioluminescent?
It's not bioluminescent. We're looking for phosphorescent. Phosphorescent. But that siren does denote the end of our game, and it was a well-played game by both teams. Final score is Blue Valley 27, Shawnee Mission East 20. Please join us again next time as we promise to bring you another exciting matchup of the best and brightest minds all throughout Johnson County.